Hello, everyone. It's Sen Types, as I was joined by Uncommon Fossil on the Reasonably Effective podcast.
Hello, glad to be here. Glad to be talking Pokemon TCG.
Yep, and today we are talking about some cards that aren't out yet, though they are very close to being out. This is the new expansion, Phantasmal Flames, which is releasing the 14th. It says on Pokemon Proxies. I think on live it's the 13th. A handful of the cards are already out on live from some special decks, but yeah, this is the last main set of the year. This is a set featuring Mega Evolution cards. I guess it's the Mega Evolution era, featuring 6 new Mega Evolutions, as in the three prizers and some other cards. It's actually the first Mega Evolution set didn't have any regular EXs, as in two prize EXs, so this one has those, and some pretty cool cards in the set. So overall, what are your thoughts on the set so far?
I mean, with this new set, right? You mean?
Yeah.
I think it's again. I think it's fair. I'm still not sure about these megas with the three prize option. I mean, there's a couple that have some value. I think. Three prizes are just tough to win games playing. I would say so. And there's one card we could talk about that kind of addresses that as well as a way to get around giving up three prizes on a mega.
Yeah. I feel like, so far the three prizers have been kind of in standard, not with Phantasmal Flames. They've been like okay. There have been
Yeah.
some that have seen play. The basic ones are kind of splashable into different decks, and so you have them as an option, where you're sometimes using them, and you need to just keep in mind the fact that they give up three prizes, and you need to force your opponent to, not really be able to take advantage of that, which you can sometimes do. Sometimes you can't do. You can't really fully build around one. If you do, you can have like really big issues, even if you do get going. So, because there's a lot of like one-shotting decks, so there's a handful of like Goldengo and Ceruledge and stuff like that. So, I mean, I feel like they feel balanced slash weak, and generally they're not like super interesting. At least I actually recently recorded a video on this, where I talked about like they're not super interesting in terms of design. Like in terms of abilities, they don't really have super interesting abilities. But there is a new one. I guess we'll talk about it now, which you hinted at, which is the Mega Gengar, where says, was it, if one of your darkest Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon EX, then they take one less prize. It does not stack, and then it can do 230 for two, and move an energy from it to your bench Pokemon. But I feel like it's okay. I mean, it's like not amazing, but it feels interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stage two. The damage isn't great. I mean, I guess there's two ways to look at it. One, it is the Mega EX starter deck, and I believe you can also you can already buy the product IRL. You just can't play it in official tournaments at this point. But otherwise, it wouldn't be available in live if it wasn't, I believe, for sale. You could play it as its own deck, right, as a Mega Gengar deck, where it essentially becomes a very tanky Stage 2 EX that gives up two prizes per time, and it's an ability, so therefore your opponent can't like gust up a Mega Gengar from the bench that didn't. It's not like an effect of an attack, so that's good. And then 230 is okay. You're moving to the bench, so you're forcing them to work through the prizes. It's okay that way. I think the better way maybe would be with Marnie's Grimmsnarl, right? Because then you're already playing the rare candies in the deck. It's darkness. Then that's making that tankier. With Mega Gengar sitting on the bench. So that might be another way to go with it.
Yeah, and I think you could. The idea also applies to different darkness Pokemon. You mentioned Rare Candy. The other one, oh, there's Charizard EX, right? Charizard EX is also darkness.
That's true.
Actually, very similar to Mars Grimmsnarl EX. The Marnie's is um more darkness, I guess. I mean, it uses darkness energy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think those would both work there. And then also you could pair it with like basics. Obviously, you're not naturally playing Rare Candy, but you also have more room to slide it in with. I'm just looking at some lists. There's Mega, or no, there's Mega Ganger with Roaring Moon. There is it with the new Mega Sharpedo, which is obviously not a basic, but we'll talk about that later, I think. And also with someone's playing with Team Rocket's Arbok, apparently. I think. Let me check. Is that what it is? Yep, that's what it is. And then also like Tyranitar is kind of weird, and Zoroark EX as well. Obviously, Darkness is like a good type. It has some really powerful support pieces, like for example, Pheasantipty EX, where like that's normally a bit of a liability, and now it's less of a liability. There are still ways
Yeah.
around it though. Like Dragapult EX could theoretically get around it. We'll actually talk about that later on as well. But Yeah, I mean, I feel like most of the time your opponent won't be able to get around it, or if they will, they'll be like almost slowing themselves down to the point where it doesn't really like matter. They're hurting themselves in order to take an extra prize, but if they're slowing themselves down, it doesn't matter, as I said.
I mean, right, to get around it, they can get around it certainly like once with a something maybe, but they can't consistently get around it. So it gives you the advantage. Obviously the Charizard EX, the one that obviously uses fire energy, is going to be tough because you're not going to have. Well, you can't attack with the Mega Gardevoir in that case, right? Because you're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
playing the darkness energy. But yeah, it can work with anything, you can, or with a single prize deck, right? In which case you're not giving any prizes. Now it's only by attacks from EXs, so if it becomes a thing, you might want to have non-EX attackers in your deck as well. It's not a wall, it walls prizes, so you do need to take prizes to win the game. Obviously, you can not just knock out all their Pokemon, but that would obviously include the Mega Gengar. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to become a huge thing, but you might need to think about ways to get around it. I think the tool also, Punk Helmet in that set isn't bad. It's attached to Darkness Pokemon, and if it's damaged by an attack, you put 4 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. I don't think I think that could have some value. I think like maybe the Marnie's Grimmsnarl maybe could take use of that, right? Something where you're trying to work the damage numbers, right? So it kind of fits in a darkness deck that's trying to get the damage, but working to get there.
Yeah. Also, I think it's interesting within with like trying to use Mega Absol EX for its first attack, where you need
Mhm.
exactly 6 damage counters on your opponent's active, which is really hard to do. I've seen a lot of people playing Mega Absol, or I've seen like a decent chunk of it, and
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone actually use the attack, unless they like don't have enough energy for the second attack, in which case they're just essentially passing, but in a more fancy way. But yeah, Punk Helmet's like interesting for that. It's not 6, it's 4, but there's some like really good darkness stuff in this set. I definitely say this set is darkness focused. I mean, darkness has 2 megas in this set, going up to 3 in total. So there's a lot of cool darkness stuff. I guess I'll talk about Toxtricity as well. I feel like it kind of goes with Punk Helmet. It's the main darkness card from the set, and it says with its ability, Bad Uppers, the translation here, once per turn, you can use this ability. It's a stage 1 sitting on, it can be on your bench, and then you can search your deck for a basic darkness and attach it to one of your bench darkness Pokemon, and then you shuffle your deck. Then if you put an energy there, then you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So you do, if you just want to get the damage counters on for whatever reason without accelerating, you can actually do that, but that's pretty situational. The other thing is it is only accelerating 2 Darkness Pokemon, so it will not be able to accelerate to specifically Monkey Dory, which would be really good if you could do that, because it's a way to both get extra entries onto your board and damage counters onto your board. But I think it still has very good synergy with Monkey Dory, of course, because it can definitely struggle to get going when you don't have the energies or the damage counters, which some decks really struggle to do. Um, so I feel like it's a very powerful energy accelerator just in general with cool utility. Again, like I like it with Mega Absol, just like Punk Helmet, where you can get maybe you could do a Toxtricity with Monkey Dory plus Punk Helmet to get 6 damage counters on your opponent's active, and then get the knockout there. It's like kind of gimmicky, but it seems kind of fun. And then within like a darkness style toolbox deck, again maybe with Mega Gengar, it seems interesting. I don't think it's like absurdly good, but I'd say it's on a similar caliber to something like Electric and Standard, which we're not actually talking about today. Actually, oh, also we are recording this a few days earlier than normal. But yeah, this is the same day that the new Mega Electros EX was revealed, but we're not talking about that today. But yeah, I feel like Toxtricity is like really good.
Yeah, no, well, it's kind of like the poor man's Gardevoir EX, right? It's a stage, it's a
Yeah,
single prize. It's a stage 1. Those are both pluses for it, but it scouts for your deck rather than the discard, which is generally better. It puts 2 damage counters on, but it only does it once, right? And it only does it to the bench, not to the active as an option. So it's kind of like Gardevoir EX, but not as good. But obviously that kind of balances. Obviously, if it had the same abilities as Gardevoir EX on a single price stage 1, that would be much too good because Gardevoir EX as a stage 2 EX is already kind of too good.
yeah,
I would say. Obviously, it's a really good card. It makes good decks. Then I think we should talk about the Mega Sharpedo for a minute here because that's what the Toxtricity is meant to go with, right?
Yeah.
which is the stage one mega Pokemon, so 3 prizes, and it's 330 HP, so nice HP on a stage one, and then the main attack, 2 energies, Hungry Jaw, it's called here, does 120 for 2, and if it has any damage counters on it, it does 150 more, so you're doing 270. That 270 is really not enough, I would say. So you're going to have to probably be doing some augmentation to make things happen. And that's where like the Punk Helmet, Monkey Dory, something like that probably has to go in with the deck as well, like that. Just to get the numbers what you want. But it's made to the Toxicity is made to go with the Mega Sharpedo. But I think the Toxicity is really the more interesting card, probably.
Yeah. Also with Mega Sharpedo, I mean, 270 is not like the worst number. You are one-shotting the relevant stage. Wait, how much HP does Flareon have? It's why am I blanking on this? It
Um,
is. Oh, it's also not limited. Okay, it is. It is 270. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
okay.
But I wasn't sure if it was that or 280. It does 280 anyway. So yeah, like pretty much all the relevant stage one EXs that you're one-shotting. Let's just something I'm forgetting. Well, stage one, 2 prize EXs, which
Yeah.
are most of them. That being said, those are probably decks you're not really looking to run into. Like a lot of them are taking one shots on you, but it is still like an okay number. Um, it's not one shotting stage two EXs or stage one megas, but those are like a lot higher, so it
Yeah.
could be worse.
Right. I'm just thinking like if you're playing running into Goldingo EX, that's one of the stage one EXs. You can one shot them, but they can also probably one shot you, and they're taking that extra prize. So I would like to be able to knock out. If I have a 3 prize stage one, I think to make it useful, I should be able to one shot a 2 prize stage two. Right. I would think to get the prize, to kind of equal things out. The stage two is a little harder to set up. So that's where the megas probably was good design. They're not running away with the format, which I think happens at times. They have a new mechanic, something tankier, bigger in the damage numbers, and it kind of takes over. They've managed not to do that. I think with the megas.
Yeah, I also think this card's. I was like kind of thinking about it, and it's honestly kind of similar to Mega Lucario EX in the fact that it has like it's kind of highlighting the or it's like the showcasing the highlighted type in the set. Like darkness is here, fighting was with the last set with a lot of support for it, but the support's the more interesting aspect to it. Also they both do 270 for 2, and then there are ways to boost the damage. Kinda here it's with something like Monkey Dory, which again you can't accelerate to with Toxtricity, or also Punk Helmet. I mean, Punk Helmet seems kind of sketchy. Your opponent needs to feed into it. It's not even necessarily getting you to the numbers you're looking for. But I feel like it's like all right. I expected to see some play. It's one of the better new decks from the set, I guess. The set just doesn't have that many standalone good decks, or really any, I guess, depending how you break it down. But I think this one's kind of cool. Also, uh, I think
Yeah.
that Grimsley's one move or whatever the supporter's called is really cool. I just want to kind of jump in or back in
Yeah.
and say this one is the one where you cannot use it turn one, which I don't know if it would make it too good, but it would make it kind of really swingy. So I get why they did it. But turn one, you can look at the top 7 cards of your deck, put a Darkness Pokemon, you find there onto your bench, then the others are on the bottom of your deck, so it can get evolutions. The reason I'm saying it wouldn't be like super good turn one, I mean it's like super inconsistent, but it could be super powerful. It's a really fun card. It's kind of silly, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, what would make it a lot better if we had good ways to get cards back on top of your deck? We have some. Obviously, we can do that, but I don't know if they're not great ways. I don't think at the moment. So it's more of a gimmicky card. I would say so. I like you say it's a darkness set, but that's the only of the trainer cards. There's only one darkness one, right? So there's like
And the Punk Hamlet.
yes, yeah, yes, it's in the American set. It's not in the was it? It wasn't in the Inferno X set, right? Because that was in the special deck. But yes, correct.
Yeah.
That is true.
And there's also like a Sharpie, or no, you said Sharpie. There's also a Seviper, which is like a decent single prize. You could do 220 for 3 darkness. I think if you have was it Darkness Mega in play or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, which is like pretty like all right. It's not absurd. And there's some like other mediocre darkness Pokemon. I mean, it's not as good as Lunatone and Fighting Gong and Premium Power Pro, but I mean, like it's still I think the best type in this set. It's like Darkness and Fire, um, but they both have some cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean the Seviper, it's hard to power it up. It's three darkness energies. Assuming you're only playing darkness energy, you can't use Crispin, so you're gonna have to what use. You can do multiple toxicities, right? If you have them, but you still have to get them set up. You have to switch from the bench to the active, or something. So that's where the Seviper is interesting. I think it's going to be awkward though. That was my kind of thought on that one.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I think it like. I feel like with Toxtricity, I mean, Toxtricity is pretty similar to Houndoom, the single strike one.
Yeah,
A big difference and what makes it kind of better is that it is basic energy, meaning that you can have more than 4 copies.
right.
You could have covered single strike energy, but anyways, it's like better to have it more accessible there.
Yep.
And you have more options theoretically as well. But ultimately, Viper, I think you're like the idea is you're going to get a bunch of Toxtricities in play in a Toxtricity deck, like a Toxtricity toolbox, and Viper is just a one of, which is like a pretty good one of. It's or single prize one of, not like
Yeah.
absurdly good, but decent. I like it. I don't think it's. I mean, it's not. It's not. I'd say in general this set's kind of weak. Because I mean it's kind of small. But it's a decent card.
Well, and you need a mega darkness in play. So the one darkness here is there's the mega Sharpedo. We also have the mega Gengar, and then we have what the mega Absol is a basic, right? If you want to
Yeah.
splash in a deck, the mega Absol may be the way to go. I don't know if the synergy is all there with that either. So I think this Viper is more of something to keep in mind down the road, depending how things develop. I would say.
I mean, I feel like Mega Absol, if you're playing a Darkness Mega Box, I feel like that would go in. Um, I've been talking a lot about the first attack, but the second attack's just like pretty well rounded. I mean, it is still 3 energies, but I mean, I think that it's just a lot more payable with Toxtricity. Right now, it's played in standard, but it's like it's not super hard to pay. I mean, but you need to like usually you set it up with TM Turbo Energize. So it's like you're taking a whole turn off to set it up. So it's like it's a decent commitment there. Versus now you don't need to do that. You can like say turn one attack with like Badoo or whatever. And then turn two you can still attack with Mega Absol.
Yeah, right. Because I know you're not a fan of attacks that are basically about accelerating energy. So, and obviously, you need a big payoff to make it worthwhile.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly, I kind of like TM Turbo Energize. I just don't think Joltik Vox is a particularly good deck. I guess that's where I stand. I like Joltik, but I mean, you don't get any value immediately. It's obviously better to like, if you don't have to use a set of attack, it's better to use it like an attack that really disrupts your opponent or gets you or like does damage or something.
yeah, right. Like, all right, right. You attack with Badoo while you set up your bench and stuff. It's pretty effective. All right. So I think that we hit the darkness Pokemon, right? So do you want to talk about do you want to talk like you want to talk about the Mega Diancie at all?
Um, Sure, I guess. Yeah, I'll read it out here. So for 2 psychic, it does you score up to 2 energy from it, which are presumably psychic. It
Yep.
does 120 for each card discarded in this way. It's also a mega, obviously. It's a basic as well. 270 HP, which is like kind of low for a mega, but it's like whatever, I guess. And then it takes 30 less damage from attacks to this ability. This card also, I guess, has one retreat, and it has metal weakness, which is meaningful. This card is playable as an option from what I've seen, it's playable as an option within Mega Gardevoir EX,
Okay.
or no, within regular Gardevoir EX. Post rotation, because also these cards are mostly going to be out post rotation. I mean, that's true
Yeah.
for a lot of cards, but rotation is closer on the horizon. So I feel like it's meaningful to talk about it with some of these ones that synergize more specifically with cards that are rotating, which I'll talk about after. But you can power it up as like easily in Gardevoir, and it's like okay. I don't think it's super good. It is like technically a Pokemon with a different weakness, but I feel like it's like a liability being a three prizer. And then I mean it's like not absurdly strong, but it's like a decent option within Gardevoir as well. I think it's fine.
Yeah, you could splash one copy in your Gardevoir deck. I can definitely see that. Post rotation, obviously, it's 2 energies. This deck has Wonder Patch in it, which you attach a psychic energy from the discard pile to one of your bench psychic Pokemon. So can't go to the active like Gardevoir can, but you're in. but you're not damaging the Pokemon, especially with Mega Dance. You're giving up 3 prizes. You don't, give putting damage counters on it's pretty rough. I would because it's only 270. Yes, it takes 30 less, but it's still not a huge number. So getting in and play is a scary thing, I would say, right? And the idea that you're going to play a Mega Diancie deck as your deck, I think, is pretty sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wonder Patch. Honestly, I really like Wonder Patch. We've seen cards like this in the past.
Yep.
They've all been pretty good, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if they've all been amazing. They might have all been amazing. I don't think I'd quite go that far. But anyways, they're certainly good. This card's cool. I like it with Mega Nancy. I like these more aggressive, big basic decks, like very turbo-y. But with the megas, they're just kind of, as you were saying, a three prizer. It's like it feels bad. And like you can do it with Mega Latios in standard right now. Wonder
Yeah.
Patch could actually also add to that by using the Latios because you need to move the energy. But that's pretty doable. But ultimately, even if you are hitting for 200, 300 damage, turn one going second consistently with like Mega Gengar, Mega Dancy, which are both like they have some tankiness to them, but they have a lot of not tankiness to them as well. Um, they're just I mean, you can be one-shotting every turn and still lose, which like is feels really bad. So, and that's not like a crazy thing to happen either, because again, you're not like absurdly tanky. So I feel like Wonder Patch though is cool. I'm trying to think like this post rotation, because right now in standard, if you have like a generic psychic Pokemon, the idea is kind of like play it in Gardevoir, like an attacking option.
Right.
But this could be good. I mean, most of them are. I don't think it actually works super well. This obviously something like Screamtail. Wait, Screamtail might rotate, but like something like that wouldn't work. That needs damage counters. Same thing with like Monkey Dory, obviously, which
Right.
is like kind of different, but definitely needs damage counters and is psychic. But overall, I feel like Wonder Patch is like pairing it with something like Fluttermane or whatever is kind of meh. Also, I think Fluttermane doesn't rotate. I think Screamtail does. I should really like know this stuff better. Yeah, Screamtail rotates and
Okay.
Fluttermane uh does not rotate. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I mean, Wonder Patch is cool. I feel like its use cases. It's seen a lot of play in Japan, or like it's seen the most play in Japan and Alakazam for some like kind of gimmicky purposes to like get extra energies. To essentially, it turns it into draw because you can reuse enriching energy because you need turns off of attachments to do so, which is like cool, I guess. But that's like obviously a weird case of it.
Okay. Yeah. No. Wonder Patch is a nice card, and obviously, right now with Gardevoir EX, you don't the need for it's much lower. But when that rotates, this is going to be a much more important card. It's still a very nice card. Right. Energy acceleration is always a nice thing there. In terms of the other psychic Pokemon, I think the Mismagius. This is an EX, but not a Mega. I'd like is worth talking about. 260 HP. And there's some confusion stuff in the deck. This has the ability Swirling Spell. I don't know if this is the official final name or not, but if the Mismagius is in the active, when your opponent switches in a new active Pokemon, it's now confused. So there's a few other confusion things too. So confusion's a tough way to kind of try to win games, but it's a fun disruptive thing. And then for 2 psychic energy, it does 150. Not a great number, but not a terrible number. And you draw, they have 6 cards in hand. So sort of a mediocre attack, but the idea being you'd build a deck where you're trying to gust things to the bench. There is some energy disruption options in this deck as well, I would think, so that you're making it tough. So they're having to switch, be confused, going to have to hit heads often enough. And with your low damage output, you're hoping that you get an extra turn or two and can win the game.
Yeah, I feel like there's some interesting stuff. So I built a deck list. I don't actually have it with me. I mean, it's not done. Yeah, I feel like confusion is interesting. I'm gonna quickly go over the other stuff as well.
Okay.
There's the Brambleghast. This is a stage 1 psychic
Yep.
Pokemon that says when you can use this ability when you play, even when you play it, you can make your opponent's active confused. Is pretty much what it does here.
Yep.
And so that's like another confusion, a way to get that done. And then there's also a stadium. It does. What's it say? Oh, confusion is not removed during evolution or devolution. which seems like kind of niche. I'm not gonna lie, but it is the third confusion piece. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I might be, but anyways. So those are the confusion pieces. The main one is Mismagius, which is specifically good because confusion. If you're not familiar, it's a special condition. It's one of the three special conditions: paralysis, confusion, and sleep, which do not stack. The other ones do stack. Poison and burn stack with any of the other ones. But anyway, so and it says your opponent needs to flip a coin before they attack. If they flip tails, they do 30 to themselves. If heads, they just attack like normal. And then the idea is they can still retreat. So Miss Magius will mean that they can't retreat. I mean, they can retreat, but the new active is still confused, so it doesn't really help
Right.
them. Which is interesting there. But I wanted to build a deck around the Psyduck from. Do you know the card?
No, I know you've liked that one in the past though.
Yeah,
So go
Psyduck
ahead.
says from 151, the attack over thing for one colorless says during your opponent's next turn, whenever they flip a coin, treat it as tails. So they can't attack if they're confused. I mean, they can. They'll just damage themselves. So the idea is then to like stop them from attacking and be like a control deck. Also, sorry if there's any background noise. I don't know if you can hear, but yeah. So this card is like bad, right? But it's funny. I built a deck around it before this confusion stuff came out. By the way, it was horrendously terrible. But it seems interesting here. And there's some like funny combos you can do. Or not, I don't know if combos, but like synergies. Obviously, with Brambleghast, you can replay it using like scoop up effects or something like suspicious. What is it? Suspicious timepiece or whatever? No. Um, strange timepiece. There we go. So you devolve a psychic Pokemon. You can also do this with Miss Magius. You mentioned energy disruption.
Right.
There's Miss Magius from Paldea Evolve, which is when you play it, you move an energy from your opponent's active to one of their bench Pokemon, which is a similar idea there to or I mean it's another on place psychic evolution, so it also synergizes there, and it is still Miss Magius, which is also like the one line you're running. So there's some like fun little stuff there. It's like kind of bad, right? But it's funny. So yeah. Also,
Yeah.
there's Lisa's appeal. I'll mention that, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
not new.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of that. It's not going to be like a top tier deck, but it's a fun rogue deck to try to mess with your opponent that you'll get some wins with, but you're going to come up short a lot. I would say. But yeah, I was thinking like the single prizes Magius. That goes in the deck as well because then you get some energy off the active, and then even if so, you're gonna if that and if they can't get the energy on that, then they have to switch from the bench to the active. So depending between the Miss Magiuses, you can kind of work, help control things that way as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's like kind of weird. I mean, I generally don't really like coin flip decks. I mean, they can be funny, right?
Yeah,
I'd say I like them less than other people. I mean, this is kind of weird because you're not actually the one doing the coin flips. I mean, functionally, it doesn't really matter who's doing it, right?
right.
But it's still I mean, it's like super hit or miss, unless you're hitting them with Psyduck. But if you're hitting them with Psyduck, then they could still retreat because Mismanagers EX isn't in the active. I suppose you can knock out your Psyduck somehow, but with like poison. But that seems bad. To guarantee that they can't attack. Yeah, that seems pretty horrendous as I'm like saying it. But this is like the funny deck from the set, in my opinion. Well, no, there's actually another funny deck that I think you'll want to talk about, which maybe we'll talk about after this. But the
Yeah,
overall, I feel like it's just really silly and fun.
yeah. It's a silly, fun deck. And I don't know there's any other psychic Pokemon to talk about, right? I mean, there's a Whimsicott
Uh,
that can heal all damage from one of your bench Pokemon, but I don't see that really having a place in the game.
yeah, I'll actually mention. So I'm actually going to a pre-release tomorrow. Well, tomorrow at the time recording this, I'm pretty sure at the time releasing this, all the pre-releases are actually done. But Zacian is actually, I believe, one of the pre-release promos, and this
Okay.
card is absurd during pre-release because pre-releases are what, 4 prizes, right?
Yeah.
But this says if your opponent has 3 or fewer prizes remaining, it does 90 more. So it does 140 for 2 for like most of the game. Um, on like a basic, it's like super. I assume it's super absurd. But anyways, did want to mention that. Not super good standard. It's like okay, I guess it's playable. I feel like, but not super good.
Yeah, and in pre-releases, it's low HP single prize Pokemon, so you're going to be even one-shotting a lot of things from early in the
Yeah.
game. So on a basic, so that's pretty rough. So all right, so we'll move to the lightning Pokemon. I assume you're setting me up to talk about Rotom EX there.
Yeah, is this your favorite card from the set?
I don't know. It's I mean it's the one it's one I definitely want to try some stuff with. I don't have good hopes for it, but Rotom EX, so another EX that's not a mega. It does the attacks not it's not even meh. It's not good. It does 130 for two. You discard all energy from this Pokemon, so that's pretty terrible. But then it's got the ability multi-adapter. All Pokemon with Rotom in their name can have up to two Pokemon tools attached. So that's that makes it fun, right? So what could you do for shenanigans there? There are Rotoms in the game here right now. There's both there's a set of Rotoms. There's a Mo Rotom, a Heat Rotom, a Wash Rotom, being right? Grass, fire, water. So you can hit for different weaknesses. Plus, there's the single prize Rotom for lightning. I think there might be like three single prize Rotoms with lightning right now, actually. And there's the good colorless one, but I don't think you'd actually want that with this in that deck, probably the one that can get you other colorless Pokemon. So you can have this a single prize meme deck with a whole bunch of tools. So you can get what you get six times two, so 12 times. What's it do for damage right now? I'm blanking.
I get 360, right?
I think, yeah, assuming you get everything set up. You have to get all these tools in the hand too. Yeah, 30 per
Yeah.
tool attached. So for two colorless energy. So you got to get them powered up too. So it all gets a little tricky there. But you have Crispin, I guess, to make that happen. But
Yeah,
that's
and all
very,
the tools like EXP share. I'm sure you're
yeah.
playing for EXP share.
I would think you're playing for a lot of tools and those type of decks, which I like. They're a lot of fun. Because you have so many tools in the deck, just the deck is not consistent, and you're not hitting the cards you need. So I would say that is unfortunate there. I think that now I had an idea for control deck in standard because there is the 80 HP Rotom, so super tanky there with the
Which one?
uh it,
Oh,
it
the not the tool one.
right.
The actual Rotom. Yeah.
It's a single, yeah, just yeah. So with two attacks, the big one I think being for this crushing pulse does for one energy. Your opponent reveals their hand. You discard all item and tool cards. So get rid of all the items in your opponent's hand when you attack. Pretty good. You can get a couple tools. Up your HP up to what 180, so it might not be so easy to knock you out. You can do
Or with
gusting.
Luxurious Escape, it can be with two tools. You could have 280.
Okay, so oh, that's true. So and obviously now you give up three prizes if you get knocked out
Yeah,
at
it's kind
that
of bad.
point, um, but you can probably do some manipulation. Ideally, maybe you want to get some way to knock yourself out so you don't give up one prize, depending what you do. But I think that's a fun little disruptive deck to me. Just honestly, I don't know that it could be good, but a fun little thought I had there of way to do it. And I also wondered expanded with the Rotom EX, just because we have the Rotom V with its nice ability, and do we want to do something that you can make like which goes in certain decks, maybe the control style decks. Again, you can have two tools on your Rotom Vs. Maybe you can do something there, but I think the Rotom is like a meme deck special, I would say.
Yeah, I have actually a few more things to add on to the Rotom there.
Yeah.
There's the card that you didn't. Well, you mentioned it to me like previously, but there's a Bronzong for three colors on stage one. It does 40 for each tool attached to Pokemon
Yes.
or to Pokemon in play.
Oh yeah.
Actually, also your opponents, which is like kind of funny. Probably doesn't matter very much, but it is kind of cool. But that's like a thing. And then also, so I got a comment a while ago. I don't know if the person intended it to be played with the new Rotom EX, which makes it better. But they said do the Rotoms like with the tools with the technical machines and jamming tower because if the technical machines fall off,
Right.
um, which is bad. So and I think you play with TM machine as well to search out the technical machines, and then you like you jamming tower yourself so that they don't fall
So it
off, which
stays.
like seems bad because I mean you're playing a tool deck and you're turning off your own tools, but and it seems funny. I might try that. But then also with the control thing in standard, there's a few Rotoms. There's actually a bunch. I've like kind of forgotten about some of these. So there are the tool ones. Also, you didn't like say so all the tool ones actually. I don't know if you said this, but they all are like the same as well. So even though it's like technically a toolbox, no pun intended, like toolboxes, and you have different attacking options, you actually only have one attack across
Yes.
the different attackers, which is kind of bad. But yeah, so there's the Rotom, the one that discards the items and tools from your opponent's hand, which is kind of cool. There's also the one for one colorless, which recovers an item from your discard into your hand. Pretty
Yep.
cool there. And there's the Morotom, which says before doing damage, you discard all tools and special energy attached to your opponent's active there, which is, again, sometimes potentially it's good, right? It's definitely not an absurdly good card, but it definitely has some value, and there could legitimately be a Rotom toolbox control deck there.
Yeah, no, that I don't know if I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but yeah, I see this some of the skeleton of a Rotom control deck. So I don't think it's going to be a top tier deck. I don't imagine it's going to be a top deck, but it's a fun one to mess around with. So yes,
Yeah, also Fan Rotom, which is like the best of the Rotoms, definitely.
yes,
Is like it's actually good in control as well. If you're playing like Pidgeot EX or like I thought there was some other colors thing, but I don't remember what it is now.
okay.
I'm blanking, but I'm actually okay. I like really want to figure out what this is. Maybe I'm just imagining things. They like definitely didn't play Knockdown. That like doesn't really make sense to me. But I'll come back to you on that in like a minute when it's like least convenient or something.
Okay. Just briefly on the Bronzong, because you brought that one up, so that's a stage one, and the tool drop attack does 40 for each tool attached to all Pokemon in play. So if you're really lucky and your opponent's also playing a Rotom deck, then look out. The problem is it's three energies to do it, so three colorless. That makes it very difficult to pull off. We do have some energies obviously to make it happen: reversal and ignition. I'm always, the one you lose after every turn, the other you have to be behind. So navigating that energy with the prizes to get to the win, I always find that tricky. But that's I guess how you're having to play that deck.
Yeah. Oh, I think I was imagining it. I don't. I think it was the Pidgeotto, which is like the stage one. But yeah. So I think that there's some like cool, silly stuff in this set. But I want to talk about the other main type in this set. The set, as we've been saying, is called Phantasmal Flames. Obviously, we talked about the Phantasmals, like the darkness stuff with like Gengar. But then the Flames is of course fire, and
Yeah.
everyone's favorite fire Pokemon, Charizard. And yeah, this is Mega Charizard X EX. This card is the Mega that was revealed at the World Championships this past year, which, by the way, those cards, I mean, this card's okay. Like, the Mega Dragonite is so bad. But, anyways, so this for 2 fire, you discard any amount of fire energy from your Pokemon. It does 90 damage for each card discarded in this way. I see this card for the. I guess I'll toss in the Oricorio X as well, which accelerates as much fire energy as you want to your bench fire Pokemon. If you have a Mega Fire in play, which there are not any basics, but there was a stage one, and you're probably playing it with Charizard. But anyways, this I think is mostly going to be as like a finishing option in Charizard EX, which again is going to be rotating. I don't think it's particularly good post rotation, but it's powerful in terms of damage. It has a really high multiplier, so it's like okay.
Well, I don't know that it's a finisher in Charizard. It also could be your first attacker, right? Because Charizard ramps up as the
Yeah,
game goes on. This you get the 3 energies on potentially your second turn, so you're doing 270 on your second turn, and you can't get that with Charizard really. So
yeah.
so
I
I
mean, you can take big one shots, but you're also losing the energy, which like could be bad.
It is, and then you're giving up 3 prizes, so that's where coming in late in the game. I like the megas more late game, but yeah, I think it goes with obviously the darkness Charizard that we have, and there are I think if you're a Charizard fan, the basic Charmander and the stage one Charmeleon you gotta consider. The Charmander has 80 HP, which I think the others are less than that, and if it has no energy attached, it retreats for free. So that could be your go-to Charmander. The Charmeleon does 40 for one. I think the other Charmeleons need 2 energies to attack. So, the basic, the stage one have value in Charizard decks in general as an option.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this is the highest HP Charmeleon as well. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really play Charizard. While we're talking about like Charizard and fire decks, though, I'll also mention the Moltres here for 1 fire does 20, but if you're hitting an EX, it does 110. Yeah, 90 more, so it's 110. What are your thoughts on this card?
I don't. I don't love it, I gotta say. I mean, it kind of reminds me of these other single prize 1 energy 90 damage numbers. Now this is 20 plus 90. You're not. It's. I guess if I'm playing a fire deck like like a Charizard deck, I slap a copy of Moltres in because I can finish something off I couldn't knock out with, and it's only a one prize liability. But I don't think it's going to be that meaningful most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like it's like okay. It does hit weakness, which is cool.
Yeah,
I guess I've mostly been focusing on that when I've been like looking at this card before. But like if you're playing a fire deck, then I mean a lot of the decks that play fire energies aren't actually fire decks, but it's still kind of like weird there. You're not really looking to hit weakness more. I mean you kind of are, but you know it's not the biggest deal. But yeah, I mean just like as a finisher, it's okay. Again, it's like these one energy cheap cheap attackers. It's seen a lot of play in Japan. I mean, the decks that can be played in are good. I mean, it's like it can be played in Charizard and Dragapult, and
yeah.
like it can be played in a lot of things. But I feel like it's decent. I mean, I feel like it's okay. I kind of think of it similarly actually to Survivor. Survivor is higher commitment but higher payoff. But I feel like they're both like decent single price tech options within these larger decks, which have some versatility in terms of energy acceleration and attacking options there. As a one of it, I feel like it's decent, but it doesn't seem super inspiring to me either.
Yeah, and or if you want to play Ethan's deck, right, then having a Moltres in uh, to hit occasionally is a good thing. Talk about the Ethan's deck just because obviously the Oricorio EX does is similar to the Ethan's except it can
Wait,
do
which Ethan stack?
well the Ho-Oh or the O
Okay.
right
Yeah.
that accelerates but only to eat other Ethan's Pokemon. The Oricorio can be to any it has to be a fire Pokemon and I think it's on the bench right, but
Yeah.
it's from hand right
Mhm.
to as often as you want, right? So that's very good potentially. And then there's also a Ledge, which evolves from Charcadet, which because often with the Ethans there is like the Armarouge box deck, which I think we have some options to do a different variant there because the Charcadet you have the Armor Rouge, which moves your energy around, but also, especially if you're going to the bench with the Oricorio, you can move it to the active with the Armor Rouge. But then you also have the Sarah Ledge if you're going that route with a nice attacker, single prize attacker. It does 220 for one energy. You have to discard 4 basic fire energies from your hand. That's not great. But if you have this deck that's built for getting energies and get slapping around, having an Armor Rouge deck with a Sarah Legend, I think is a nice option.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Cerulege is mostly going to be played within Cerulege EX because, I mean, it's like one energy, big damage, but it's like a single parser. It's like a little clunky, but it's not like horrendous. And I mean, you have a lot of energies there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Well,
like amazing, but I feel like it's okay.
I mean, the other thing is, and it's we're not you don't want to talk about expanding much, but Sarah Ledge, if you want to give it a try, and I think I want to give it a try and expand it because they're like with Fire Crystal and Fiery Flint, I can get those energies and recycle them a lot easier than I can in Standard. So if you can consistently do 220 damage on a single prize Pokemon for one energy, that's something viable, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely cool there. I'll also mention probably my favorite card in the set, to be honest, which is the item card Heat Burner,
Yeah.
which says you discard a basic fire from your hand to use this. Then you discard a tool, special energy, which needs to be attached to your opponent's Pokemon or a stadium. It's just one of the three. But it's like pretty good at like removing your opponent's resources. Most actually going to play some of these, and they're going to be moderately important. It's not going to be like the most powerful card, but it's pretty versatile. I don't know. I don't know why I like it so much. Maybe I'm just going to play with it. I'm just like not going to like it, but I don't know. I really like it. I'm excited to play it. Probably just in like Sarah or something simple like that. But I think it's a cool card.
Well, I think if I'm playing a deck with Fire Energy, I'm at this point. I'm going to put a copy of it in, right? Because a tool or a stadium we're used to that, but the special energy as well. I know special energy is not the biggest thing, but it's certainly it's around. It's obviously very things that get rid of special energy are very nice as an option. And we obviously have Crispin, so for decks that are a bit are flexible in the energy types, and that you could just slot in fire because you have some colorless attack costs, even if you don't need the fire. That give the option of the heat burner. I think it's going to be a pretty nice card. So I also am very excited about the heat burner. There is one other fire support trainer here, a supporter that's not as good. But you get to Fire Breather. You search your deck for 7 basic fire energies, put it in your hand. So, like you said, there are a couple good, well, for at least fire trainers. I don't think Fire Breather's as good, but the fire and the darkness are the focus of this set in general.
Yeah, Fire Breather's interesting with the Goldengo or Sarah GX for some like big explosive
Yep.
plays, but it's kind of That's kind of sketchy, right? But I do actually want to talk a little bit more about Heat Burner. I think it's translated Blowtorch is the official one. I could be
Okay.
wrong on that though. But yeah, it's a card that obviously requires basic fire energy. So like if I'm playing Dragapult with like one or two fire energies in the deck,
Hmm.
even like three fires, that feels like kind of sketchy. I feel like you need more recovery or search or stuff, which um you can do. I mean, those aren't bad cards to include in your deck in
Right.
general, but it is like kind of weird. You need to find the right balance. I definitely want to play a deck with four of this in it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably just gonna do like Cerealage with four of this or something like that. But I feel like it'll be good in most Fire Energy decks. I don't think it's like I don't know. I don't think we've slotted into literally all of them or even like most specifically Dragapult. Right? Dragapult's obviously very good. It plays fire energy, but not that many fire energies. So, but it does like the ability to like slow down the game and disrupt your opponent's resources as well. There.
Yeah, and always been a fan of the Flareon EX as an op, and so if you want to play that type of deck, I imagine you're putting at least I'm putting at least one copy of Heat Burner in to start things off with, and just see if it makes sense. Time will tell on that, but yeah, cards like this with disruption, but with some options, I think are very good. They're traditionally been very good cards. Cards like this have been cards that you want to are kind of staples in expanded decks, which that's kind of how to me I know a card's good when like most expanded decks you go, okay, I need to slap in, Floatstone or whatever, right? It's just a good
Yeah.
card.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool card here. Also going back to Fire Breather, kind of jumping around a little.
Yeah,
But yeah, Fire Breather, I feel like we like both said it was bad. The reason it's like bad, I mean, it's not like the worst card ever, but um, getting seven energy theoretically is good, but like when do you actually like need seven energy? It's not like it's seven times as good as energy search. It's more like four or five times. Because you're not going to get as much value off of those like last energies. It might not even be four or five times as good.
yeah,
It's that's a lot of energy. It's a lot of deck spaces come in two energy, which really no deck in the game is really doing in that amount to just fire energy. So you're like augmenting the rest of your deck, doing some wacky stuff, and you can get value out of it. But it's kind of sketchy. It's not again not like the worst card ever, but it's not super good. I heard some people saying it was like super broken when it was first revealed, and I was like, I'm pretty sure.
no,
Everyone has the cards they like and stuff, but yeah,
yeah, no, Firebirder. It's one of those silly. It allows for silly options and silly ideas, is what I'd say. So I don't know I don't have a really strong use at the top of my head, but there's gonna be ways to use it to do some silly things. But those type of decks are inconsistent generally. I think Fire Breathers generally can be not that good, and you can give it a go with something. I don't know it's ever I don't think it's ever gonna be a hugely powerful card. It depends what else they print, but I don't think a card like that's not likely to be like a great card.
yeah. Even in Goldengo when Fire Breather first comes out, like it has some use cases with Cerealage Goldengo together. I think
Well,
it is like it's okay,
I
but
get I guess, but then you can't play the A spec that gets you all the energies, right? Because you can't
yeah.
have
Well,
that
right now
many
the
energies.
most Goldengo lists aren't playing it anyways. They're like doing fighting stuff. I mean, it's like useful. It's kind of interesting. You're just kind of changing the dynamics of the decks. Energy Surge Pro is powerful, but it's a one turn thing. I mean, Fire
Yeah.
Breathe is also like a one turn thing because after you use it the first time, you can't play it again because you're not gonna have seven more energies in your deck. So it's like a similar idea. But it frees up your spec slot. It has like some upsides and some downsides. But yeah.
Yeah. So you want to talk? We'll talk about the grass Pokemon for a minute, or do you just want to hit the other trainers?
Um, we can talk grass Pokemon, I guess. I don't really care about the grass Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're all kind of bad. But yeah, we can talk about it.
All right, there's a couple Pokemon I just want to hit on quickly, and there's some other trainers that definitely need some attention. There's the Mega Heracross EX, so that's a basic Mega 280 HP. It's okay. It might not even be okay. The main attack it's actually not okay. It does for three energy, it does 170, discards two from the top of your opponent's deck. You're not gonna win by discarding two. It's not enough mill. 170 is not enough damage, especially on a three prize basic Pokemon, but you get it in play quickly. And then I guess the idea is if you want to use the Ludicolo, the stage two, which you have to have a Mega Grass EX in play, this is the simplest way to do it, that you heal 60 from one of your Pokemon. And you can have more than one Ludicolo in play and heal more. There's the The big mega, the stage 2 mega though, right in the deck.
Yeah, Venusaur.
So I think the Ludicolo goes with Venusaur probably, but if you're trying to do something, the Mega Heracross gives you that option, I would say, with the Ludicolo.
Yeah, I feel like Venusaur. I mean, Venusaur just isn't like super good in general, but also I feel like Ludicolo is just adding too much clunkiness. I feel like playing it more simply and straightforward is just going to be better for you most of the time. And this is not that. And like don't even get that much value from the healing. I don't know actually how good it is, but I've seen the deck just occasionally, and I played with it just a little bit. And obviously you have I don't know. I mean, it's like fun. You're big. You're the biggest Pokemon in the game, but also 60 more healing every turn could be good. But some decks are just going to kind of like one shot you or easily two shot you, so it might not even matter.
Yeah, and there's a couple of the Pokemon I want to hit briefly. You good with that?
Grass Pokemon or a
No,
different
not of the
Pokemon?
grass. No.
Oh yeah, no. There's a really good Pokemon we haven't talked about yet.
Okay, well, I'm sure it's this next one I'm talking about, and that's Paldean Tauros. I,
Yeah, this card. This one actually at first when it was revealed, I was like, this is like super broken, but then it was mistranslated. So, yeah.
So the Raging Charge attack for one fighting on a basic 130 HP, it does 40 damage for each Pokemon with Tauros in their name in play. So that would also, so Paldean Tauros, or there is the just Tauros as well. So you can have, what, six? You can have six Tauros as a play. So you can be doing 240 for one energy on a basic Pokemon. That's, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now you have to have damage on them, so you're probably playing. There's the stadium's Risky Ruins, I think, and Calamitous Snowy Mountain to get damage on things. But if you
Uh, yeah.
right the
Oh wait,
um,
no. I'm just Stony Mountain is energies, right? Yeah, that's
well,
energies.
that's when you attach an energy, right? So the
Oh
the
yeah.
the one is when you get Risky Ruins is when it goes into play. But obviously, if you things are in play without damage on it, then have the other stadium to help get damage on that way. Maybe you can't move damage on yourself. I don't think really. So that would have been good. But it's a silly meme deck is what I'd say. Another meme deck in the set.
Yeah, it's okay. There's not even a regular Taurus in this set either, right? Yeah, that seems like kind of silly, but whatever. Um, but yeah, what card do you want to move on to next?
Then there's other two. There's Arcaludon. Is that I don't know if you think that's a good one or not, but
No, I mean there's one that's like maybe there's Pokemon in this set. I mean, it's not the most interesting card, but Arcaludon's like not. It's okay.
it's just it walls basics for 3 energy on a single prize Arcaludon. If you're playing the Arcaludon EX deck, this is an option. Is all I'd say with that.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like Ceruledge, which is an option within Ceruledge EX. Arcaludon
Right.
is an option within Arcaludon EX. Yeah, honestly, even the same thing with the Mega Charizard or even Mega Dancy. They're just options within decks, which they're all like decent decks. They vary from like okay to very strong, but none of them are going to be like the center point of a deck. They're all going to be kind of meh. They're different. I'd say Arcaludon and Ceruledge are the most similar because they're single prizers, but um, they're just tech options.
Yeah, it's a tech option in a deck that's out there that's an okay deck, I guess. Arcaludon's not the best deck. The other card to me to talk about, probably the one you think is very good, I'm guessing, is the Mega Lopunny EX. Is that right?
I think it's seen. Maybe it hasn't seen the most play of the Pokemon. Oh, also Mega Dancy. I was like, why is Mega Dancy seeing so much play? It's also been out in Japan longer. I forgot about that.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know how much longer, but yeah. I mean, Mega Lopunny. Do you want to read out? Or should I read out?
Sure. So it's a stage one, 330 HP colors Pokemon. Two attacks. The main attack is the first one, I believe. One colors energy does 60, but if it switched from the bench to the active that turn, then it does 170 more. So you're doing 230 for one energy. That's a nice number. There's ways to. We have the one supporter that heals your megas, right? It loses the energy. If I
Um,
is
yeah.
that
Lose
right?
it back to your hand though, which is better than discarding as well.
Yeah, and so it fully you heal it up, you can reattach, and it's just one energy, so that's really nice there. Kind of remind the old Urshifu VMAX with that similar attack, and then the second attack, Spike Hopper does 160 hits through effects. So if your opponent's playing, I always like it's nice to have something like that. If your opponent's playing a walling deck, you don't have to worry about it because you hit through the walls, so it just takes that as that win condition away from your opponent. So this potentially is a very good attacker. It's only one retreat cost is one as well, so you can just manually retreat if that's what you need to. You just air balloon and switching cards and stuff. So potentially, potentially very good.
Yeah, I feel like it's I mean it's just one energy, it's efficient, it's easy to get going. Honestly, like I really like Mega Camera coming out of the last set, and this is like this is definitely better than Mega Camera because it's colorless and easy to get going. A little weaker, but like it's pretty strong. I mean, it's like pretty much the same damage. So like it's efficient. There's not too much to say about it. There's also a Linoon which lets you switch essentially just um it works with Mega Lopunny. It does. It's not even insane with Mega Lopunny, but it doesn't really work with anything else. But as far as I'm aware, there's nothing else I'd play it with. But yeah, Mega Lopunny is just like simple. It's not flashy. It's the same attack as Rapstrike Urshifu VMAX,
Yeah.
essentially the first one on both, which is like not the good one on Urshifu. It was definitely decent, but not the crazy one. But yeah, I mean this card is I don't know. I feel like this is a card you like because it's like a simple, straightforward card. I mean,
Yeah.
I also like some simple, straightforward cards. It's not. It does some like utility as well. The second attack, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to make it a deck. I think that's not a terrible idea. And there is a single prize Lopunny that does 50 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for one energy. So that could be worth if you're playing a Lopunny EX Mega EX deck. I think I'm slapping in the single prize as well to finish something off. But also it's colorless. It's a stage one. It's not as good as a basic, but you could splash it in some decks as well. So I think it's appealing. It's certainly an appealing card to me.
Um, yeah, it's definitely the mega. I guess I'm the most excited for. I mean, the other ones are kind of meh. I mean, it's also kind of meh. They're not all like Dancy's like good in Gardevoir.
Yeah.
But I would say it's not super exciting. I mean, I'd say in general they're not that exciting. Mostly they highlight other mechanics or like other cards, except for Lopunny, but that's because the cards around it. Like, there's nothing that really has super strong synergy with it. But I mean, you can toss it. I think it's seen a lot of play in Goldengo because just one energy. It's
Okay.
seen play with some like Dusknoir stuff, so it's like a decent, well-rounded card. But then I think we should talk about the trainers, which are like the best cards in the set, right?
Y-
I
yes.
mean, the Pokemon are like decent. The trainers are kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie, but I guess I'll talk about the two good ones now. Steal the spotlight here,
Well,
but
hang on. Let's say. So, is there any use for Jumbo Ice Cream? I assume that's not one of the two, right? You heal 80.
no,
That has retreat cost of three or more. So you don't think that's got value?
energy cost
Oh,
or no,
energy.
3 energy attached,
Oh, three
which
energies
is like
attached. Yeah. Okay. So you don't see
which
that
is worse
useful.
probably.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay. It's good in like pretty much all the stall Pokemon. Well, not all of them, but like most of the stall Pokemon have an attack cost of 3 or more, or 3 pretty much. So like if I click on it on City Leagues, you can see it paired with Omega Kangaskhan EX, Crustle, um,
Okay.
Giraffe EX, Iron Thorns EX, Milotic EX. Of course, so Mesogirapon EX. So those are all walling Pokemon with an attack cost of 3 there.
Okay.
So it works like decently in there. I mean, healing 80 on an item's like good, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. There's a number of walling Pokemon that fit the bill, and yeah, healing 80's nice. So if something that makes Crustle better, what more could we ask for, right?
Uh huh.
Okay. So you want, and I don't Sacred Charm. We don't need to talk about, right? 30 less
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah,
So
I mean it's okay. These damage reducing tool cards are like okay, but they're not super good.
okay. Well, there's three cards that I have worthwhile. The supporter. I think both stadiums are worth some discussion. So
Both
go.
stadiums.
Yeah. Which stadium is bad to you? The Vertigo Valley.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Wait, what
already
are you
mentioned
using
that
that?
one with confusion. So that's the one. If you evolve, right, you don't recover from confusion. So, but we talked about confusion. There's a confusion theme with this set as well.
Well,
So,
yeah, but that seems like a lot worse than the other stadium. Like the other stadium's
well,
actually good, and this one's like not good. It's like okay within the deck. It
oh
fits
yeah,
in with
no,
the bad
okay.
deck.
So the other stadium is good, and I think the support is really good. So which do you want to lead
Yeah,
off
no, I
with?
think let's talk the stadium, I guess, which is pretty good. Battle Coliseum here prevent damage counters from being placed on bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, because it's a stadium, by effects of attacks and abilities from your opponent's Pokemon. Damage, of course, is not an effect, so it's not stopping like uh Greninja EX or something. But Will Smith Ogre Pond EX. That one's like I guess more common. But yeah, stopping Dragapult EX's bench damage counters being placed, as well as Dusknoir or Monkey Dories. Dusknoir and Monkey Dory are both good cards. I mean they only do damage counters essentially. They do some other stuff, but pretty much all they're doing is damage counters manipulation. Versus Dragapult actually does a good chunk of damage. This doesn't necessarily stop Monkey Dory and Dusknoir. It just stops them to the bench. So they'll just go after the
Well,
active, but that might be, that might not really be worth very
hang
much for
on, hang
them.
on. I'm not sure it stops Monkey Dory. Are you
No, it
sure?
does.
Does it?
Yeah,
Is that a ruling
I
on
don't
that?
know what happens if you try to move it. I don't know if you heal and the damage, like, disappears or if you
Because
can't move them.
because
But,
I
yeah, I
thought
mean,
moving was different than placing, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure it stops from Ghidorah. Um,
Okay.
I'm, like, very confident it does from what I've heard, but I don't know, actually, that's a good point. I'm pretty sure it stops it. I should find an official ruling. I'm gonna look that up on my phone, I guess,
Okay.
um,
So
if I can find it,
all right,
but
I'll talk for a minute while you look for that. So yeah, so it's there. It stops. Obviously, Dust Snore is really what it's in the game for, a hard kind of Dust Snore. But other thing, a little Dragapult as well, which of course is very good. So it stops that as well. So very good thing. I've been playing some expanded with like Inteleon engine, and you get like things like that place damage counters. So it stops that as well, and it protects from the effects of attacks, right? And there's a number of attackers that hit the bench or hits the active and places some on the bench, and so it's a very powerful stadium. If you have a deck that's relying on getting damage on the bench, you're going to have a counter to it. And this is where, like Heat Burner, you need your own stadiums. You're going to need something to get rid of this card because it's going to cause trouble to a number of decks.
yeah, and looking it up, I'm pretty sure it does stop Monkey Dory, as in, like, Monkey Dory, I haven't found an official ruling on it, but I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it takes the damage counters off and then places them back on. So it'll take them off and then it'll go to place them back on and then fail. Um, or succeed if you place it on the active. So yeah, I feel like it's like against Monkey Dory, it's the weakest of those three in terms of getting to the bench because Monkey Dory obviously it requires some setup. I mean, they all require some setup, but then it also like you got some extra damage, which oftentimes is mostly useful on the active, and then also healing is useful, which you can get no matter what. So, and then Dust Storm can be used to like really obliterate your opponent's bench. The same thing with Dragapult.
Yeah.
Also Hawlucha. Hawlucha is kind of like really mostly grouped in with Dragapult, but similar idea. It like completely stops Hawlucha. It doesn't do anything then.
And it'll also now, if my opponents do playing this, my Dojos are not going to be doing damage. I will draw the card, but I will be doing like essentially nothing
No,
with my Dodrio. So that's probably why it was printed, right, to shut down
no, it
Dodrio.
doesn't stop Dojo. It's your opponents.
It's only for my opponents. Oh, it's
Yeah,
only my opponents.
that'd be
Okay,
funny the Dojo thing, but
okay, okay. So and also if I'm playing a Dragapult deck, it doesn't stop the damage counters being placed on my own Pokemon.
um,
Okay, which is
from
important.
what
Like if I use if I'm playing
you mean Gardevoir?
Gardevoir, I'm sorry. If I'm playing
Yeah,
Gardevoir, I still damage myself, which I need to do in this case.
yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So it's like it's good. It's a counter card. I'd say it's kind of like Psyduck or Shaman. I'd say it's a little better than those, I guess. I don't know. I'd say it's on a similar caliber, which are good cards. Versatile, but they're not like useful every matchup. I'd say they're a little overplayed. I haven't really played them, but it kind of depends what you're looking at. If you're in a more tournament setting where you know, or even not a tournament setting, if you like kind of know what the meta game is, like at like I say, especially like a small local event, where you like might literally know what like every person's playing, then it could be really useful. But it kind of depends there. But then the other card here, Dawn, I'll read it here. It's
Okay.
the supporter here that is like it's very good. I'm pretty sure it's like definitely the best card in the set. It's not my favorite card, but I like it some. It's a supporter. You search your deck for basic stage 1 and stage 2 Pokemon, and you put them into your hand. And yeah, that's pretty good.
No, I think it's a tremendous supporter. This I think is the best card in the set. It's going, and if you're playing an evolution deck, I'm pretty sure you're playing Dawn. I was going to say it goes in every deck, but you don't put it in basic decks, obviously. And this is a
I
little
wouldn't put
different.
in a stage 1 deck. I feel like.
Oh yeah, but not like a big basic deck. You're not putting in that because you don't
Oh
need
no,
to.
yeah, I'm saying I wouldn't put it in a stage 1.
Oh, that's true.
Or
It's for stage two decks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably not very often. Like if you're playing Goldengo, I don't think I'm playing Dawn on it probably. Um, but very good. I think it is a little different. I think it's a little bit unique too. There hasn't been a card that did exactly this, right? Searching for three Pokemon, you don't have to discard anything. It's your supporter, but super powerful. There's obviously a lot of stage two decks in format now. They keep printing like, some good stage twos, so I think it's just a very, very good card.
yeah, I think it's good. I'm definitely not as high on it as you. I feel like generally most decks can get good value out of a basic. I mean, Nest Ball's
Yeah.
good in every deck. It's not played in every deck because there might be better options, but it's good, theoretically. And then getting like a stage one or a stage two, like the one of those is going to be presumably your main attacker, which is useful. But there are times when you already have it. You're not looking for like a bunch of copies of it really. So I think it's but like it's useful. I think it's most useful where you have a deck where you have some utility stage one or stage two though,
Yeah.
as in like Pidgeot EX, Dracloak, where you're like looking for these, specifically Dracloak, where just getting more is always better. You don't like one isn't gonna be like getting one versus two. Yes, increase your draw by a bunch, but it's not like completely game warping. Getting the first one online can be huge. But anyway, like just getting more is always going to be nice. So Dawn's not really going to be ever bad for the stage one. The stage two though, you're not looking for like. I mean, I don't know. Are you how many copies would you play in something like just like Dragapult?
It's one or two, I would say.
Okay.
I don't think it's more than that. I also wonder if this might change how you build certain decks, like stage two decks. Particularly if you're playing stage two decks, then you're going to want to have some. If you're going to if you think you want to play Dawn, then I want to have some stage ones that have some value potentially. I'm trying blanking the name, but there's and you don't really like the card, but the single prize that you draw you draw three cards, you shuffle it
Oh
back
yeah,
into
the
your deck.
Dunsparce, yeah.
Right, like the
Also
dun
Dusclops. I somehow blanked on Dusclops.
Okay.
Um, I'm sure it was in the back of my mind, but yeah, obviously that's like very good in Dragapult. That's another stage one, stage two, which are both good.
Right, Dragapult, Dusclops, you get value of it the whole time, even once your Dragapult's set up, and such. So I think some of those things it could be very good. It's a card, you know, might be think if I'm playing expanded, I'm gonna have to think through. I think I'm gonna have to put this in some decks and expand it as well. But I have to think that through. That's a broader thing to do. But this card doesn't, like I said, there hasn't been a card that does this quite. So it's bringing some new aspects to the game, I think, in the Dawn card.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to resist the urge to make a Dawn pun, so I'll not do that.
Okay.
But yeah, so in expanded, I didn't. I was gonna say this, and I was like, well, no, we're just talking about standard. But it only gets stage one, stage twos, and basics, which is like everything, but not in expanded.
No.
Like it doesn't actually get megas, the expanded megas, or the XY era megas, or like V maxes or V stars. So I was thinking like, what deck plays stage twos, which actually a lot of decks do. But they're all kind of weird. But a lot of those decks are V star decks, like Lugia, Richie Draco.
Right.
So you can't get your main Pokemon, which is kind of bad. But yeah, it's kind of interesting there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're playing an Italian engine, then it's good for that because you get that, and then you potentially can draw three more items after you play the Dawn. So from it,
Yeah.
so and you're set up for the next turn because they have a basic and a stage one that you can evolve the following turn. But I'm not sure. Um, it's still of limited. You're still not like building a four. I don't think you're putting four Dawns in a deck. I can't think anything that's going to want that. Off the top of my head. But you think it's probably Dawn's probably the top card here, right?
Yeah, I think it's more so the other cards being kind of meh. I don't think Dawn's super good. I mean, as I said, I do think it's the top card, but I think it's kind of like a tier two supporter, which is like all right. In Caliber is something like I'm like looking at Dragable here. Obviously, you have like the top supporters, which I think are Iono, Lily's boss, Arvin, and I definitely put research in there as well. I'd say it could be arguably that's like shouldn't be there, but I definitely think it should be. I guess Crispin's good, but I'd say Crispin's like Crispin's powerful. It's different. But then
Yeah.
like Hilda, Jack, um, some. I feel like there's one I'm missing, but there's like a Brock Scouting. Did I say Brock Scouting? Um,
N- I
but
don't think you
yeah, and
did.
anyways, like those ones, there's some different ones, and they're like okay, they're decent, they're good, but they're not like amazing or anything. So I feel like it's all right. I guess theoretically, a deck that could play four of it is I don't know. It needs to be something where you're playing like a lot of Pokemon over and over, almost like the Dunsparce, like in expanded, or even maybe standard Alexam, but you're not like playing like 10 Alexams in the game. You're playing four at most. I mean, I guess you could recover some, but with Alexam, you could play an expanded with Devolution Spray Z, where it goes back into your deck, and then you draw it again, and you like play the same Alex a bunch of times, and like you find it. It's like super clunky, but like that's the only situation where it could be like truly a 4 of. And I feel like being a supporter that like essentially is never going to be a 4 of, and also isn't a card that's a consideration in every deck, feels like again like good, but it's not like not crazy good.
That's true. It's limited because I was like calling up Jack or Jock, the decks that play it, right? That's which are the Charizards and Dragapults, right? That have Pidgeot and Dusknoir, and they get a lot of value from it. So, like Dawn's better than Jock in those decks for the most part, I would say. But it's more niche. Yeah, the cards are niche, right? Battle Coliseum is important for some decks. Heat Burner is going to be important for some decks. There's nothing that's really going in every deck, I don't think, with this set of cards.
Yeah, I'd say like you look at like Mega Lopunny is versatile as a Pokemon.
Yeah.
You have some of the trainers which are like mediocre but versatile. I mean that would be like the tool or something. But yeah, I mean the set's all right though. Overall, I'd say it's a fine set. It's not spectacular because I mean it's smaller, right? But
Yeah.
we got the 700 card set right around the corner though. No.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think for a small set, it's okay, right? It's not shaking up the meta. That's okay. Now maybe the last set didn't really shake up the meta that much either, so maybe things are going to get a little stale. Might be concerned about that, but I think for a small set, it's a fine set.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from the Mega era. With the next set, I believe, which I think is a mini set at the beginning of next year or something like that, before rotation,
Yeah.
with like Mega Dragonite and stuff. We're getting the actual new Megas from ZA, which will be cool, I guess. It's not actually that different for the TCG, but it is the first time these Pokemon are getting featured in their that form, which is kind of fun. Overall, I think that set's going to have some cool stuff in it. We're going to see some cool stuff on the horizon at the beginning of the next year, like not the mini set, but the main set. I imagine we'll see something exciting mechanically. Normally at the beginning of the year, we see something exciting. Um, we saw the megas, but I think we'll see something on a maybe a slightly lower caliber, but on a similar caliber there.
Well, yeah, next year, as we get a couple more sets and then we have rotation happening, I think it's after rotation that the megas are going to start to become more meaningful in the game. I got to imagine.
Yeah, like when we look at the top decks in the metagame right now, um, we can see that like Gardevoir, Charizard, Goldengo, these are all rotating. Raging Bolt. Wait, no, Raging Bolt's not rotating. Wait, is Raging Bolt rotating?
Um,
Uh,
I don't
I should
think so, but I'm not
no. Oh,
positive.
Sada's is rotating. I think Sada's is rotating.
Okay.
Yeah, Sada's rotating. Rotating. There we are. I knew something good from the deck was rotating. That's like important. So yeah, like a lot
Yeah.
of the top decks are losing important or like are leaving honestly, or losing very important pieces. Dragapult's still all right. And then you see like the best deck that came out this year, I guess, is Marnie's. I mean, I'm like not a fan of Marnie's. I just think it's kind of. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I think it's all right, but um, for the most part, I think Pokemon's done a decent job of balancing things. I think they've kind of tuned down the power level a little, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, I think they're kind of making things a little more vanilla in the short term, but then hopefully it's a strategic move so the game's a little more balanced long term. I think they're trying to flush out some of these really too strong cards, and it's better that to just kind of keep things vanilla rather than trying to print something even more powerful to push them out, right? Which they had gotten in that cycle for a while. I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah. But anyways, we hope you enjoyed the episode today. And tell us down below in the comment section on our YouTube channels, 10 Types and Uncommon Fossil, if there's anything specifically you want to see. But you can also check us out if you are watching us on YouTube, or if you're not, make sure you subscribe there and like. But also, you can check us out on podcasting platforms if you want to listen to us without seeing us. They're not us, but like the
The cards and
limitless or
such.
something. Yeah, for whatever reason. Or because, it's more convenient. But we hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, as I said, all the good stuff. And as always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.